before we go to create the stuff on the action to fill in information on the model, then one thing more is to be changed in the view. I forgot that, but we can do it before, so we remember it, because I was talking about that the amount I wanted to have as the converted amount. I don't want that to be changed, so it should be read-only. And at the moment there is also validation rule on a calculated field that doesn't give any sense. So let's just try to get it again. So it was the one here. So I get rid of the validation rule, and then I need to put in an extra attribute on the HTML, and there's one called read-only. And I can set that to be read-only. So now it will be a read-only field without validation rule. And the good stuff with making it as a read-only field is that it looks like a normal box. I could have made it like a label, but then I also need to change the style if I want to have it look like the rest of the boxes. So read-only, tag equal read-only. So now we can go to the controller. And do some stuff. So we need to fill in the model. We got an empty model. So now we need to fill some information into it. We don't care about the two amount elements because they are set to 0 by default. A double L is 0, but we need to take care of the rest of them. As far as I remember, if you have a null value for a selected value, then it's the same as you don't have a selection. Then it will just, for the Dropbox, take the first one. But we will try to make one as well for that. So, just need another paper. So the first one is that we need some elements, and I will break it down in a couple of statements because then it's easier to read, and I don't have enough space on the screen. So the first one is I need some items to show in the list box. So let's say that we want a list of models. Actually, we should have a list of model curency objects. So we need a list of them. So we just call it CL. We have to get them from somewhere. And where can we get them? Yes, we can actually get them from the model, the repository. So, but the repository was an object, so we actually now need to start up making a repository. Curency repository. What should we call it? CR. Yeah, CR. My short name could be on the screen. and it will actually, the constructor generate test data. So now we actually can put in information for the currency list, because now we got the currency repository and can say get currency list. So now we got a list. But we don't need a list for the model. For the model, we actually needed a special list of selected list items. So let's try to see if we can do that in an easy way. The model goes this one, the currency list from, and that need to be a list of selected list items generated from the list of currency. But there's an easy way to do that, because we can make a new selected list. There's a class called selected list, and that can actually make them itself by running through all the elements, and we just need to tell which element should be the value and which should be the text. So let's try to see if I can write it correctly. Selected list. This should be the one. It seems like it is in the system web MVC, so it's actually the right one. And then we should make a new one, of course, of those. Then we need a lot of parameters. The first parameters it should have is an enumerable of items. So that could be the currency list. But you can see there is more than one. So if you go through them simply, you can see here we still got this one. Then we can actually tell which is the selected value. And we go from this one, you can see this one is good because we put in a string telling which field is the field for the value, and the value is the one we don't see, the key field, and then which is the key for the text. So we can actually just put in those two, and then we actually got what we need. So, and that's much more easy than actually making a list of selected list items where we are making an empty list, and then we are making for each going through all the currency list, and for each of them make a new selected list item and add it to the selected list. So this can actually do it for us. So, and there might be a way, there might be a reason why they made special this one, because you often need to convert from one kind of data, and you not always have the same name. You don't necessarily call the key for value, and you not necessarily call the data you want to show for text. So we put it in here, and the first one will be ISO, and now it's really important because it might do some kind of reflection behind, because we just tell the key name and we don't get a compiler. It's a text field. And the next one, and that's why I made this one. So to remember, you saw here this one called text, where we put all the stuff that we want to show in together. So we can use this one. And that should be enough, actually. So this is one list. Then we need another one, precisely the same. So we could actually do the same, making copy of this and do the same stuff. But when it's generate the HTML, we actually don't need, when we are making the post and use the HTML in the browser, we actually don't use this information anymore. So it's only to generate. So in this case, we could actually just say we are having the same list. So we just, instead of making a new one, we already have one. just get it to point to the same one. Oh, models, small, cross, model, oh yeah, model dot, and then this from. So it's not a problem. It could have been, but I've tried it out and it seems like they're, what I also expected, are generating HTML. So in behind we don't actually have the this list in memory. We only got it in HTML when we are finished, and that's we will have a problem for that a little bit later. So now we got the 2-1. Then we might, maybe if we take one of them, we could also say that we want the default one for each of them. So we could take model dot and then the ISO from and set the value we want to use for that. That could be DKK. So we default want to convert from Danish, and we should be aware of that this key must be in the set. So so maybe we should take a short look. Let's see if I spelled it correctly. Yes.
There's no smart way of getting the names from the model itself.
Maybe, but the problem is then I should make a search and for the key, and then actually I need the key. So so I search for the key and take the key. So yeah. But of course you could just say it was the first one, or you could say it was the second one. But now we got a selection anyway. In a normal list box you can have no selections, so you can start up having no selections. But with a drop down list, you always have one selection in the first place. So if you don't do anything, it will just be the first one. Yeah, and that could do as well. But now you see that this is actually also used for making, instead of we have the selected list items, where we actually could put in the selection. Then when we use this kind of list box, we are actually not using the list items select value. We are actually using a list of selection, and then it changes it in the list box when it builds it. So it takes actually those, we have a multiple selection, then it will be an array, then it will go through all this one when we use the list box for construction. Then we'll go through all this element, and then it will set up the select to be true or false, instead of we shall do it in the select list. So and then when we come back, it will match. So it will still be the same. We are sending back the selected one. So maybe we nearly got enough for now, actually. But for a little bit later, we need one more thing to do, because if we go to the model, this must be the one, then now we have initialized this one, this one, this one, and this one. This one will be a 0, that's no problem, but this one might also be a problem when we use it a little bit later. So maybe we should just make an empty list for that, then we already have set up. But I know that we don't use it in the first place, because we don't have the list with all the elements put in the view yet. So, but we can put it in here, model, and then we got the last one was called curency. Oh, exchange list equal new. Oh yeah, it should be a list, of course. list. Then the model is not, so we need to write models.exchange. So we just got, so now we should be able now to show a view and see what it looked like. So let's try. And the easy way is to go to the view, close that maybe. So here and then start from here, then it will start up in the right URL. So now it's exciting. And we got one problem. Model list from. Model list from, model selected from. Just try to check. Null reference. So we got one of them is a null. This should not be the problem. Model current list from. Could that be a null? Let's try to debug. Oh. Yeah. So it's saying this one should be a problem. Or now I can remember if it was from or to. So this one. So let's try to. Oh, didn't I do that? Let's see. Yeah, you're completely right, yes. So we don't have a model. I forgot that. You should, of course, when you call it, you said it was a return, but it's actually a call of the view, of course. So we pass the model, and we have done that in the last one, but we need to do it here as well, of course. So, but as I would probably have seen that there was a null value when I come to the with the debugging, but I think I will remove the debugging. I don't need it. So just remove it and try again. So, we got a view. Yes. And we got a box, and you can see that seems to have changed the value. So I thought that I will go from Danish to euro, but now I'm going from euro to Danish. And then if we try to convert something, we can try to write in something. No, we haven't put any rules on this one, so never mind. But we could put rule ins that just as we did in the currency. So, and of course, it will. Yes, we did put rule in. Yes, it should be filled out. So, but we don't do any conversion. We don't make the conversion. So of course we need to do something for this. But we pass the model, and it seems like we also have a living one. So we pass it once again, then we got a problem. Yeah. And you can see that we now got a problem because we need some selected list items. So that will be the next one. So let's try to go, now we can see that we have the the right one displayed. So the next step will be the post to do the right one in the post. Should I take short break and cut the video? Then we got a good point.